Rick Ross is trying to compete for the title of most over-the-top mansion with his new 109-room mega mansion. Rick Ross has made quite the name for himself as a rapper and a record exec. This career has earned him a sizable fortune of $55 million. Honestly though, his new house in Georgia might be more impressive than anything else he's ever done. From above, this home looks like a spaceship, though that futuristic vibe doesn't continue once you get back to the ground. It's much more of a classic mansion than these modern boxy homes it seems like every other celebrity is buying nowadays. From the ground, this looks like the ultimate rapper party pad. It's got a classical style, a particularly ostentatious pool, and the kind of design that just screams decadence. Can't you just see a music video filmed in front of that pool? I'm sure we'll see more than a few for as long as he still has the keys. When I talk about how decadent the size of this house is, I'm not really sure you understand. It sprawls out over an unbelievable 45,000 square feet. To put that in perspective, a standard football field is a little over 57,000 square feet. So if you ran from one end of this property all the way to the other, you've made it most of the way to a touchdown. Once inside, the house is just as ostentatious. There are 109 rooms and 12 of them are bedrooms. It has a dining room that will seat almost as many people. It will reportedly seat well over 100. Those dinner parties have no option but to be next level. I mean, just look at those staircases he's standing in front of. He's literally standing in front of a series of white marble columns. It's basically like he bought the nicest mansion ancient Greece has to offer. Even the railing is super fancy. This is a home that does not play around over a single square inch of potential excellence. Just to make that clear, let's dive right into the pool. The pool isn't just one of those little lap pools most people get either. You see, a typical lap pool holds around 10,000 gallons of water. Ross's new pool absolutely destroys that. It is over 30 times as big. It holds 350,000 gallons. It has 2 diving boards. This thing is bigger than a great deal of public pools. 10 people could swim in this thing without ever having to worry about bumping into each other. What's crazy about this house is that isn't even enough pool for it. The home also has an indoor pool. While we don't know exactly how many gallons this one has, it's almost certainly more in the lap pool arena than a pool big enough to house dolphins. There's no way you get 2 of those in a house. You really don't buy a home like this without a ton of super cool rich guy amenities. That's half the point of buying a football field-sized palace. This house truly has got it all. As far as truly ridiculous amenities go, this home has the thing every over-the-top home has to have. That would be an indoor bowling alley. Nothing is as needless and decadent as having a whole bowling alley at your disposal 24/7 that you might never even use. Then there's the enormous home theater as well. This probably made for the perfect screening room for the movie they eventually filmed there. You expect Rick Ross to film music videos in a house like this, but what about a full-length feature from Hollywood? Well, this house was selected for a movie which allowed us a closer look at Ross's incredible new pad. For the 2018 remake of the 1972 classic film Superfly, the filmmaker known as Director X chose Ross's house as the ideal spot for his passion project. Ross's home was outfitted as the main base for the enemy gang known as the Snow Patrol. No, not that Snow Patrol. The movie gave us a great look at the home with dramatic sweeping shots across the epic staircases, the immaculate marble floors, and the regal Greek columns that go across the walls. Its cold white color scheme and epic backgrounds truly magnified the ice-cold nature of the gang. You try and tell me this room isn't the perfect place to have a big bad guy meeting. It truly is the ultimate bad guy gangster pad. Eat your heart out mansion from Scarface. For this kind of production, the team had to rush to get all of Ross's stuff out and the Snow Patrol stuff in. They said all of their work had to be completed within 3 days. 1 day to move in, 1 day to shoot, and 1 day to move out. They claim it could be a record. Of course, they may not have used the home if they'd known it was low-key cursed. You gotta blame the location scout for not doing his homework on what this home did to one of America's greatest boxers. Maybe then the movie wouldn't have flopped so hard at the box office. Owning a house this enormous isn't always a good thing. While the home initially screams wealth and decadence, once that wealth starts to dry up, it starts screaming unimaginable debt instead. Just ask the former owner, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield used to be one of the most famous boxers in America. At his peak, he was much richer than Rick Ross. He used to be worth upwards of $200 million. Now, though, he was actually forced to sell this house to the bank. He got $7.5 million for it, but it immediately went to auction with the price of around $8.2 million. While we don't know exactly how much Rick Ross paid for it, I'd bet it was somewhere between 8 and 10 mil. So what exactly happened? Well, the cost of keeping this house running is about as much as it's worth just after a few years. It reportedly takes $1 million annually to keep this place up. 17 grand of that came from the electricity bills alone. So without a doubt, this house ran Holyfield right into the poorhouse. Well, by celebrity standards anyway. He still got over $1 million, but that's crumbs compared to the fortune he used to have. That's gotta hurt more than stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson. And for Evander Holyfield and his ears especially, that's saying something. Is Ross doomed to the same fate once his bank account starts dropping? Almost certainly yes. I mean, just look at the size of this thing. You might as well just name it the Bankruptcy Manor. Honestly though, this kind of thing is just part of Ross's insane lifestyle. He has admitted to being fascinated by houses for his entire life. He even hinted that this obsession was what led him to the kind of success he has had today. When he was a young man living in Atlanta, Georgia, he and his friends would frequently stop and check out some of the nicest homes in the area. They would then sit in their cars and dream about what that kind of life would be like. Well, not only did he find out, he never actually stopped looking at houses. This hobby ended up costing him millions. While he has a vast real estate portfolio that includes several multi-million-dollar homes, he evidently purchased one home just for the long-time hobby. Ross admitted that he literally bought a home he thought was cool just so that he could drive by it every day and know that it was his. That's pretty sweet actually, but how much does a hobby like that cost? Well, he said that he dropped over $1 million just to pick this mystery home up. There have got to be cheaper hobbies a massively successful hip-hop artist can come up with, am I right? I don't know about you, but I really want a before and after shot with Ross now and 10 years in the future when this house has drained out his bank account dry.